Imagine this, you're standing in a supermarket aisle faced with 50 different types of cereal. Each promises something slightly different. More fiber, better taste, fewer calories. You came in for breakfast, but suddenly you're in a full-blown internal debate. This, right here, is what philosopher Barry Schwartz calls the paradox of choice. In a world where options are everywhere, what to wear, what to eat, what to watch, even who to be, choice is king, or so we think. But what if all this freedom is actually trapping us? What if more choices lead to more regret, more anxiety, and less satisfaction? In this video, we'll explore why too many choices might be making us less free, not more. From psychological experiments to philosophical insights, we're breaking down one of the most mind-bending questions of our time. Are we really free to choose, or are we prisoners of our own options? We divided this into only 4 sections, so let's start with section 1, the illusion of infinite choices. Let's start with the idea that more choice equals more freedom. It's baked into modern society. The more options you have, the more empowered you feel, right? Well, not exactly. Psychologist Barry Schwartz turned this idea on its head. He argued that while some choice is undeniably good, too much choice overwhelms us. His famous experiment involved a jam tasting station at a grocery store. When there were 24 flavors available, more people stopped to sample. But when there were only 6, more people actually bought a jar. Why? Too many options made people freeze. They couldn't decide, and so they didn't choose at all. This concept, known as decision paralysis, affects us daily. Picking a movie on Netflix, selecting a phone plan, or even choosing a dating app profile to message can feel exhausting. Not because we lack options, but because we have too many. And here's the kicker. The more options we have, the more we second-guess the choices we do make. We wonder, what if I'd picked the other one? Regret becomes the shadow that follows our freedom. Next section, 2 philosophical perspectives on freedom. This isn't just a psychological issue. It's deeply philosophical. Take Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the great existentialists. He believed that humans are condemned to be free. In other words, we have no choice but to choose. Every decision we make defines who we are, and there's no escape from that responsibility. Sounds empowering? Maybe. But for many, it's terrifying. Freedom in Sartre's world isn't about endless possibilities. It's about being aware that every path you take means leaving another behind. It's the weight of shaping your identity with every small decision. Now contrast this with determinists, who argue that free will is an illusion. They suggest our choices are shaped, if not outright dictated, by our biology, upbringing, culture, and environment. In this view, we're not really choosing anything. We're reacting, operating within the parameters set by forces beyond our control. So are we truly free? Or are we navigating a maze built by genetics and society with only the illusion of choice? The psychological impact of too many choices. Back to psychology. Let's talk about decision fatigue. Every choice you make uses a little bit of your mental energy. And in our world, we make hundreds of decisions a day, consciously and unconsciously. What to wear, what route to take, what email to answer first. Our brains get tired, and tired brains make worse decisions. This is why high-performing people like Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. Not because he lacked style, but because he understood that minimizing small decisions conserved energy for big ones. Then there's the paradox of satisfaction. Studies show that when people have fewer choices, they tend to be more satisfied with their decision. But with more options, even if they choose something objectively better, they're less happy. Why? Because they can imagine how the other options might have been even better. It's not about what we choose, it's about how many alternatives we had to give up. This makes modern life uniquely stressful, not because it's harder, but because it's saturated with choices that demand constant evaluation. Next, for navigating the paradox. So how do we deal with this? One strategy is satisficing. Coined by economist Herbert Simon, it means choosing an option that's good enough, rather than obsessing over the best possible choice. Satisficers are generally happier. They make decisions faster and regret less. They don't endlessly scroll through reviews or second-guess everything. They know their needs, and once something meets them, they choose. This doesn't mean settling. It means prioritizing peace of mind over perfection. Another approach is to limit our options intentionally. Think of it as creating a mental filter. Instead of considering every possible route, we set clear values or rules that narrow the field. For instance, you might say, I only buy clothes from sustainable brands. That one decision shrinks your choices dramatically and often increases your satisfaction. Mindfulness plays a crucial role here. When we're aware of what truly matters to us, what aligns with our values, we can avoid chasing hollow options that only look appealing on the surface. Less noise, more clarity. The paradox of choice reveals something deeply uncomfortable but incredibly liberating. More options don't always make us freer. In fact, freedom might not be about having every possible path, but about knowing which ones are truly yours. We're living in a time of infinite scroll, infinite tabs, infinite potential lives. But maybe fulfillment doesn't come from exploring every aisle. Maybe it comes from walking confidently down the one that aligns with who you are. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by decisions, pause. Ask yourself, what really matters? What are my values? And what choice serves that, not just what looks good? In a world of too many options, clarity is the real superpower. Thanks for listening. If this sparked a thought, or maybe a healthy existential crisis, consider sharing it. And remember, sometimes the best choice is to choose less.